Hello, my name is Zach Villareal, and this is my presentation for Principles of Organizational Leadership, where I'll be assessing my leadership journey so far and also sharing key discoveries that I've made from this course that will contribute to my future aspirations and goals as a leader. I want to start by just sharing a little bit about who I am. I've been at Bethel for about the last 8 years. I completed my undergraduate in 2018. I've also completed my master's in educational leadership from Bethel. I met my wife at Bethel. We were recently married this summer, actually, and I share that because my wife and I both are kind of in roles where we're leading from the middle in our work lives, and having that opportunity is really awesome. And we try to implement the Bethel values, especially the one that is Christ followers and truth seekers. We try to reflect those in our relationship and in our faith relationships, but also in our relationships at work. We try to be really self-sacrificing and serve in a way that is with a servant mindset to our colleagues. A quick snapshot of my leadership journey. I've been at Spring Lake Park High School for the last 6 years. I teach 9th and 10th grade language arts. I've also been a baseball coach at the high school, and I've been really fortunate to serve as our summer school coordinator or administrator for the last 3 summers, which has really shaped my leadership style. And then I'm also really fortunate to step into a role where I'm more leading from the middle as our language arts curriculum lead this year. I'm serving as a liaison between multiple groups. I'm practicing diagonal communication across multiple levels within our building and district hierarchical context. So it's a really cool, unique opportunity to complete some of this learning alongside my first year as being more involved in a direct leadership position. With my Enneagram results, I found that my 3 strongest were the helper, achiever, and the loyalist, which I think is cool because I find that those are reflected in my personal life also. The helper really connects to the servant style of leadership, which ever since we read that in the text, that's really been at my heart of my work as a leader. I really want to be self-sacrificing to others and put the needs of others before my own. Let my own work build up with balance, right? Let my own work build up so that I can support some of my newer colleagues to teaching or to the district. It also connects to my faith values because it prioritizes putting the needs of others above my own. With being the helper, sometimes I might, like I said, take on too much or lack that balance while trying to support my colleagues and engage their growth over my own. As the achiever, I am really driven by results and the advancement of our school mission. With this, I also have the desire to appear competent, and with alongside that, that really connects to that path goal theory because I am being driven by achieving our goals, achieving results, and bringing other people together to collaboratively accomplish that. As a loyalist, I'm very hardworking and trustworthy. I want to support what my superiors are making decisions around and help my colleagues also come to terms with that. And this requires a lot of communication and also distributive leadership. I found myself really leaning into my language arts colleagues this year as we make crucial decisions, and also really practicing synergistic leadership. By helping others get on board with our shared vision and our shared goals, really striving to promote collective efficacy by utilizing delegation and also establishing levels of collective efficacy rather than trying to do everything on my own, and that really helps also with my worry of appearing competent to my colleagues. From the text, a quote that I found that was important was from servant leadership, saying that they are humble stewards of organizations, human, financial, physical needs, and they achieve results by prioritizing the needs of the colleagues and whom they serve. And like I said, this just really speaks to the heart of who I am as a leader or striving to be, because I really want to be a servant-based leader. It's reflected of my Christian faith, in particularly the story from John 13, when Jesus said, "If then your Lord and teacher have washed your feet, you also ought to wash the feet of one another. I really want to teach my students and now my colleagues, now that I'm more of a leadership position, to wash the feet of others and go out and do that for each other to create a healthy school community and climate. Servant leaders, they also, with this, they do need to take into account the voice of their stakeholders within their community and include that into their decision-making process. So what I'm really learning here is with servant leadership, it's not just my colleagues, my students, it's the whole community that I need to put above my own, or be willing to at least make their voice heard so that we can really meet the needs of our organization by personalizing it to their needs. And you can't do that without bringing their voice into the process. This helps our community members feel that we're invested in their values and that we want to promote their needs. With distributive leadership, this is, like I said, one that has been really key to who I am as a leader, because it is something I rely on. I rely on the expertise of my colleagues and my administration. It helps us as a school community really understand the current needs, the cultural awareness of what our students need, and how we can implement diverse instructional methods. This has been a huge focal point of our ELA department this year, with offering more choice texts that reflect our diverse student body. It connects to the Loyalist because it calls for that additional support with leadership responsibilities. I trust my colleagues really a strong amount. I really need to lean into them. And that dimension of shared leadership is really crucial to my success. And then with the achievement Enneagram result, I want to promote exceptional work from others and set meaningful goals. And I've been fortunate to kind of step into that ELA curriculum lead and be able to coach others. And with this, I am very ambitious. I want to appear competent, and I'm energetic towards my colleagues and helping them be successful. I find a lot of, with the path goal theory, this really connects to how satisfied I feel when I've been able to connect with like a brand new teacher colleague I have this year, and we've had a chance to set goals together, and I've had a chance to observe and give feedback, and then seeing her be successful, that has really, really connected to me feeling very good about my role and kind of the heart of my work. Within my leadership development, I really want to not only tap into my strengths, but also sharpen my weaknesses. Within the Enneagram, I found that some areas that I lack were like an enthusiast, kind of being that investigator piece where I'm inquiring about what we need. So I've been trying to be really intentional about being equitable by rounding with all my colleagues, connecting with them, seeing what they need, and also thinking about equity from the lenses a leader in the classroom, what my students need. And I think this all really starts with relational capacity, trying to strengthen that level of communication and trust across teams and grade levels, especially within our ELA department. And then another area that I know I need to improve is the reformer. And this reminds me of something that Dr. Reimer shared with me when we were meeting one time, and we were talking about making crucial leadership decisions, and she had shared that the question she asked is something, will I be able to sleep at that night? Or something along those lines. And that is an area that I really need to sharpen up on, because I really find myself asking this question now that I've stepped into that leadership role, which I didn't anticipate. I didn't anticipate how much that human response is going to require strong communication, and also just that personal investment to maybe sometimes step outside of just the work and the results of the work, but also that human side, like what's going on, how can I support you? Some continued leadership growth I want to engage in is continuing to engage in leadership opportunities outside of work. An example of this is my wife and I are very involved at our kids ministry at our church, Free Grace United. My continued leadership right now is really centered around leading by example, and asking my colleagues for feedback on my leadership. In particular, in Spring Lake Park, we are in the transition of moving towards competency-based learning for reporting and assessing by 2024, all of our teachers. And as a leader, I wasn't exactly comfortable I wasn't very comfortable like just full on leading this. However, I'm still leading this charge by implementing it this year for my colleagues so that I can share what I'm finding, sharing my results, sharing what's worked and what's not worked. And I've also been really mindful about engaging in mentorship with my current building leaders. Another area of growth is communication. I have had some really strong practice with this as a summer school administrator. I have really strengthened my communication skills when communicating with parents. However, where I need to grow is recognizing communication breakdowns within my direct area of with colleagues. Just understanding when things maybe need to be shared in person, and how I can really serve as that liaison between cliques. And that's been a really, I think, a strong suit of mine, is receiving decisions from administrators and then calling my ELA colleagues together to get their voice. Sometimes it's been a challenge because maybe I'm offering too much feedback from my colleagues, to be honest, and then it's really hard to satisfy everyone's needs. However, when I've been able to find that balance of like, this is a decision that's made, how do we want to approach this? That's been a really, really strong asset to my my leadership growth. And like I said, at times having to be that gatekeeper, but creating an opportunity for all of my colleagues to share their voice and their opinion, and practicing that diagonal communication, bringing that back to my superiors, even when it's like, nope, we're going this way, and then sharing that again with my colleagues. That has been really appreciated for my staff, and I think also is very reflective of that servant-based leadership. My continued growth or my aspirations, I really want to strive to continue to be a culturally responsive leader, and making my way towards that cultural proficiency continuum. I also want to create an environment where my colleagues can thrive as learners. This connects to being that lead learner, and also continuing to just delegate leadership, giving my colleagues voice, giving them opportunities to grow, and also practicing empathy like Simon Sinek had shared, but being really concerned with where people are at and concerned with the organizational health over results, because even with students, we know that like that work or that academic growth, that can't occur until that personal health is kind of at a good spot, and that's the same thing with organizational health. If colleagues are in a bad place, they can't grow until they feel like they are in a supported and healthy environment. Which again connects to that washing of the feet, being a faith-based learner. And then lastly, leaving the job in a positive and healthy place to continue the work. This is from our Talking with Leaders interview when I connected with Dr. Melissa Olson from Spring Lake Park, and she shared that she really wants to work to fulfill the capacity of her job. That's her goal, and with that, she's leaving the job in a good place to continue. She wants to work herself out of a job, and she really had an imprint on my leadership because she has a ton of trust in her colleagues, and she doesn't want to overstep and take over. She wants them to grow, which has been super huge for me working under her, and I just really, that goal of working yourself out of the job is really something that's stuck with me. And along with that, Dr. Olson really shared, bringing the importance of bringing humor, being personable in the work environment, and how much that contributes to the organizational health. And then lastly, just the most impactful piece, I think, is just being a Christ-based leader, a faith-based leader, that servant leadership. That is super important to my growth. I know that if I fall away from Christ, or if I fall off the path of Christ, that my leadership is not going to make it or be effective. I need to be praying for my colleagues, praying for my leadership and decisions, praying for my students, and I need to be modeling washing the feet, because at the end of the day, that really promotes relational capacity and helps others grow and thrive. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I've really enjoyed this course, and I'm excited to take what I've learned and apply it to my direct context as a leader in the mill right now, and eventually hopefully a future principal. Thanks so much.